My name is Reed Nelson. This is Izzy Alkafas. This is This Week in Rec, Week 8, coming to you from Fridley. Fob 5 defeat the number 1 seeded Ninja Turtles. This guy to my right here scored 8 straight points to finish the game off. He scored 9 points total. Let's be real, okay? The Turtles were missing Jansen. You guys don't win without your 8 points, which we have on video, which we will upload later today. Talk about the win for the Fob 5.
Well, first of all, I mean, if Byrne doesn't make those last 2 free throws, we don't win either because it was, a 1-point game. And they had to make a 3 at the end, and Ryan took a 2. We're up 3. Ryan made a layup, and then Byrne had to ice it with some free throws. So it was a good win. Obviously, Ryan's not there, so it changes the game completely. I don't know how they match up. I don't know if J-Sam still stays on Byrne or what. But obviously, Jansen makes a huge difference. I don't think we win that game if Jansen's there, especially with how close it was. But we played very poorly in the first half, and we were somehow still in the game through most of the first period and second half. So I guess it doesn't really matter until you get in the playoffs anyway, so we'll see.
Okay, Fob 5 moves to what? They were at 5 on the Players Committee rankings this week. What do you think they move to after this?
I think they moved to 3.
I have them at 3 as well. And what did the Turtles move down to? That's the better question.
The Turtles moved down to 4 or 5. I think 4, because I think it'll still be Rebels will go to 1, Girls will go to 2.
Yeah, we all know that, that you're going to put the Red Devils at 5. So
the Red Devils at 5.
I'm actually going to put the Red Devils at 4 and the Turtles at 5.
I can see that. I can definitely see that.
Turtles, their first 4 games of the season, they won by a combined 20 points against teams like the Villains, and I'm blanking on any of the other ones. Raucous, Cush Club, and the Bulls. Briggs behind the camera there knew it. So let's move down to Bloomington South. Sort of a talker. We got Durant Jemima with 5 wins. They're 5-2 this season. They really only have won 4 games. They lost to the Bulls, but there was a forfeit win that the Bulls got taken away from them. They barely beat the 1-6 Wildcats 5-on-4 yesterday. I've had 2 committee members telling me that they're barely going to be their 20 seed. What are your thoughts on Durant Jemima?
I am one of those committee members. I watched the game, and it was kind of like a mockery of the whole thing. They just kind of didn't take it seriously. They just felt they were just hot. I mean, I don't know if I can say the S word, but hot stuff. How about that? And I was really hoping they'd lose so I wouldn't have to let them in the playoffs. At 5 wins, they'll make the playoffs, but I will not put them any higher than 20. They'll be my 20 seed, and that's as much as I'm going to give them after that performance. That's just pathetic.
Okay, Raucous over Cush Club. Pretty easily, actually. I think it was a 15-point victory. You did stats for that game. Does Raucous have a chance to make a run? Maybe make the Elite 8, maybe even the Final 4?
You know, I say in my articles, I honestly do not get how that team works. But, you know, if they keep winning and they do a really good job for stretches. I mean, they'll have a good 10-minute stretch where they're just on point, and then they'll have a lull for about 5 minutes where they're all yelling at each other. They let the teams back in, and then they'll make another run. They did that again today. I think Cush Club had it tied, and then within 3 minutes they had an 11-point lead. So when you have Marcus and you know Devin can stroke the ball, Tommy's great at penetrating. You know, Steve's a very underrated defender. He does a really good job for him. They always yell and scream at Ryan Kelly, but he'll get the job done sometimes, and they make it work. Whatever they do, whatever. I mean, can't complain. They keep winning.
Okay, just a few other notes. We're going to be looking for 2 new committee members next season. If you are interested in joining the Players Committee and are okay with late night meetings after games, it is a sizable time commitment, and there's a lot expected of you. But I'll put my email address across the screen right now, and you can email me if you're interested in becoming a Players Committee member. We do 2 meetings throughout the season, and then we do a seeding meeting at the end of the season, so you can have your hands in the seeds. So again, we're going to be looking for 2 of those. Also, next week, start looking out for the awards voting. We're going to have the MVP, the Offensive Player of the Season, the Defensive Player of the Season, and the Rookie of the Year next week starting on Monday. And we'll also have ballots here at both Fridley and in Bloomington South. That's all for this week.
The Bulls, St. Paul?
Yeah, we're going to get to that in a little bit here with Mr. Briggs. So stick around. Jason Briggs is coming up next. We're going to send Izzy home. Rest and relax and enjoy that big victory you had tonight over the Turtles.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, I'm here with Players Committee Chairman Jason Briggs. We're going to talk again about the bottom of the seeding. I just did these numbers, the bottom of the bracket. There's potential for 13 teams, I believe, to finish with 3 wins, which would be unprecedented, I believe. The way I see it, we're going to have about 10 teams fighting for the bottom 4 spots. Those 10 teams are Lockdown, H2O, Broncos, Bulls, free agents here in Fridley, Pelicans, Blue Chips, Muskies, Pigeons, and Noisy. Okay, and they're going to be fighting for 4 spots. 10 teams, 4 spots. Again, if Lockdown loses a game, they're out. If H2O loses a game, they're out. Broncos lose a game, they're out. Bulls lose a game, they're out. Bulls play St. Paul. Broncos play the Gorillas. H2O plays the Tropics. So it's not going to be an easy road for these guys, but do you see any of these teams maybe sneaking in?
It's really going to be tough. H2O, I just don't like the matchup against the Tropics, to be perfectly honest with you. Broncos-Lakers, I don't like that matchup either. Lockdown.
Broncos-Gorillas.
Broncos-Gorillas, that's an awful matchup. It's Lockdown-Lakers, the final week of the season, which I don't like either. So it's really going to be difficult for those teams. Lockdown's loss to the Muskies last night, I mean, it put a pretty big dagger in their playoff chances. But the Muskies' close win puts them on the cusp, but I mean, then have they done enough compared to teams like the Blue Chips or Noisy Withdrawal? So it's going to be a fun next 2 weeks.
Absolutely. There's going to be a lot of debate about that. I think the game of the week next week has to be Bulls versus St. Paul. We've talked about this numerous times, but the Bulls have 2 wins. They beat St. Paul. They go to 3 wins. 5 wins if you give them back their forfeit wins. They're in with a win, right?
I have them in with a win. The way I look at forfeits, if you lose on a forfeit, that counts against you. But if you win on a forfeit, there's a gray area there. Durant Jemima lost that game by like 34 points, but have a win in the standings column. I can't give the Bulls the benefit of the doubt for that. They technically cheated, but I'm also not going to put a feather in Durant Jemima's cap for losing by 34 points to a guy because of a guy who scored 16. So there's a gray area there, but bottom line is Bulls win, beating St. Paul. That's a very impressive win they're in. But the bigger question now, if the Bulls do beat St. Paul, that drops St. Paul to 4-4.
Well, yeah, I mean 3-4 technically, but they have 1 game left against
either Wildcats or whatchamacallits, I believe.
So a most likely win. So yeah, they'll be 4-4.
Right. So there's more on the line than just the Bulls' playoff spot. At 4-4, with all the teams that potentially can finish 5-3 and above, the St. Paul, even with a good win against the Red Devils, and I guess Lakers as well, do they jump up into that top 12, or are they playing Tuesday night in the play-in games?
Yeah.
So for Greg and that team, they better take that game seriously and better hope Kloby's out of street clothes for this one.
Sure. Okay, let's talk about the top of the bracket. Turtles lose, Gorillas win, Rebels win. What does the top of the bracket look like for you right now?
Very, very similar to Izzy's, to be honest with you. I have Rebels, Gorillas, Fob. I mean, for knocking off the champs, you got to elevate them a little bit. They've been overhyped the entire season based on roster alone, and they finally put their money where their mouth was tonight. So it was a great win. And then I've got to put the Turtles over the Red Devils. It'd be a great matchup, but the problem is the Turtles have beaten a lot of good teams here in Fridley. They beat 3 of the top 5 teams in Fridley. The Red Devils have only beaten, I think the Riddlers was their best win.
Yeah.
So it's not anything that the Red Devils did. It was just, maybe it's from a lack of opportunity at this point. But just looking at resume alone, same record, I'd have to put the Red Devils at 5 and the Turtles at 4.
Well, and the Turtles finished up against Noisy and against the North Stars.
Right.
So, I mean, I could easily see them dropping one of those games and finishing at 6-2. It's going to be real interesting to see. I'm going to look at where they fall in relation to the Rebels in the standings, because now we know that they're not going to be a 1-2. Well, I mean, it's safe to say that we're not going to have Rebels 1, Turtles 2, and then them meeting in the championship game. But even if they go 1-3, they can meet in the championship game. 1-4, they would meet in the semis.
Right.
And 1-5, they would meet in the semis, which is probably what it's going to be. I would say the Turtles are going to end at most likely 4. I don't see the Gorillas losing a game. I don't see the Rebels losing a game. And I mean, do you think Fob 5 is going to be the 3 seed now?
They don't have an easy road. They have Raucus left, I believe, is their last game, which will be tough because Marcus has those boys playing well. Again, like Izzy, I don't know how it works. I know how it worked tonight and against us is we didn't have a guy to guard Marcus, and Cush Club gambled their lives away. They went for the reach, left it open 3. Went for the reach, someone got a layup. So it's tough, but if they run the table and go Fob 5 goes 7-1. I mean, I'd have them up there.
Well, it's going to be a fun last 2 weeks. Then we're going to start playoffs. It's going to be an awesome month of March. Thank you, Mr. Briggs. We'll talk again next week.